All right, let me make sure that I'm live here because StreamYard broadcasts to YouTube. All right, we are live. I'm going to make an announcement over on my original channel in case anyone wants to watch over there and weigh in. And then I will get this started. Actually, I'll play the intro and then I will do that. And then I have two guests and we're going to talk about the Batman and we're going to have some fun. So I'm going to play the intro right now. I'll see you on the other side. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. First of all, please like this stream, please share it, and please subscribe. And that goes for you if you're watching on the playback as well. Well, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna discuss the Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. I have two guests. One, some of you have seen quite a bit, and the other one you've seen a little bit. But I'm going to just share one thing, and then we're going to jump right in because I don't want to keep them waiting, and I don't want to keep the audience waiting. Let's see. Please consider joining the Big Words LLC newsletter. The link is in the description box below. There's a greeting there. I'm a writer and a YouTube content creator. And I plan to send this out monthly. I plan to send this out monthly. I've been talking all morning and did a stream earlier. I just had a meeting. And the subscription button is at the bottom. You just enter in your email address and that's it. I promise that I won't sell your information to a third party. I plan to send it out monthly, discussing some of my writings and my YouTube content and my book project, The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story. So consider joining that, please. All right, without further ado, I'm going to minimize this and bring up both of my guests. The first is my brother, Amal Dunbar. Welcome, Amal.
How are you, bro?
She's been here before. Some of you know her, Corrine Henry.
Greetings.
How's it going?
Okay. And first, before we start, that intro, when you first, being a YouTube content creator has been a journey. It's still going on. I like to think the production quality of my content has evolved over the last 2 to 3 years. And I have to give my brother credit for showing me how to use Filmora Wondershare and that intro. I have to update it, change out the music, maybe change some of the pictures. But if my brother hadn't shown me how to use Filmora Wondershare, I wouldn't have been able to create that. So so I appreciate that expertise.
Thank you, bro. There was more content on the way. We have to talk at some point and discuss the plans for your channel.
Upgrades.
Channels, the upgrades. Yes.
All right. Kareen, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm excited to speak about this. I've been wanting to talk to you about it since you post that you went to the movies on Instagram. So yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah, this time I went on a Sunday afternoon, so as not to get sick. Me and my father went to go see Spider-Man No Way Home, and the theater was packed on a Friday night, and that's when that last variant was, I think, ramping up. So I might have caught it in there. So anyway, let's we're gonna talk about the Batman. I have some discussion points here. This is starring Robert Pattinson, and I have the cast. We're gonna take a look at the cast. I'm gonna cue this up to start our discussion. So let's before we jump into the cast and crew, just a few general thoughts on the movie, and we'll unpack some of these as we go throughout. We'll go with some chivalry here. So Kareen, you can go first.
Okay. So what you want me to think of the casting? I think the casting was done well. My favorite is definitely Colin Farrell, just because I didn't even know he was a penguin until like an hour and a half into the movies. I was like, where's Colin? Wasn't Colin Farrell in this movie? And then because I was with my friend, he was like, oh, he's the penguin. I was like, for real? I was shocked. The transformation, I think he had the most transformation out of everybody in the casting, and he did a phenomenal job. But everybody was good.
Okay. Amal, any just general thoughts on the movie before we jump in to some other aspects?
Yeah, it's nice to see all of them together without their costumes on from the movie. Yes, Kareen, absolutely. Colin Farrell stole every scene that he was in as the penguin. And what's also interesting about Colin is that he's not from this country, but when he plays the penguin, you understand that he's been watching American television for a long time and understood what it was to be kind of like this East Coast gangster, where he's either from New York or he's from Boston. You can't quite place his accent, but he's definitely, one of those soprano types. So him, yes. And then the guy to the far right, Peter Sarsgaard, I think his name is. He's good in everything, and he normally plays the villain. And his short time on screen as the DA, he was creepy. You knew he was corrupt, and it turns out, when you watch the trailer, he's the guy that's got the bomb strapped to his chest and around his neck, and he's got the phone taped to his hand. And I didn't think the Penguin was going to get him. Spoiler. But I'm sorry. Yeah, or the Riddler. Sorry, I didn't think the Riddler was going to get him, but he's good in everything. So.
Okay. What? Let me ask you this: with us, geez, this must be our fourth or fifth Batman incarnation. What did you guys? Did you have any expectations going into this one? Did you? Because I think a lot of people thought Christian Bale nailed it, and then we got Ben Affleck in the whole Zack Snyder verse. Did you guys have expectations going into this one?
Can I go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I I had expectations for Robert, and I thought he was a great not great, but he was a good Batman. It's just his Bruce Wayne for me. I understand that, you know, everybody always says, you guys, but you're a Batman fan, so you was like, Batman, he's who he really is. But the Bruce Wayne, his portrayal of Bruce Wayne for me was kind of lacking, and I felt like it needed to be, even though Batman who is who he really is, I think he should have in public be a little bit more debonair and a little bit more sophisticated. He gave me too much grunge, emo, like, you know, it wasn't as sophisticated and debonair as I wanted him to be when he was in public as Bruce Wayne. But overall, I think he did a great job.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was difficult to root for Bruce Wayne. I actually felt sorry for him. I mean, I know right now I'm at a job where I'm working with people who are a little socially awkward, and you know, I recognize that some of my coworkers, they're so deep into their own minds that they're a little socially awkward. And so as I'm watching the Batman, I'm saying, okay, he doesn't get out much. He doesn't really have any friends. He may not have even had a girlfriend yet. I mean, he's so deep into this persona of being this vigilante and trying to, you know, quote unquote, to clean up the city, that he has no time for a social life. Now, in past Batman films, you know, Alfred was there to kind of, you know, poke Bruce and make fun of him and saying, hey, you got to go out and do things. You got to go out and be Bruce Wayne. In this movie, Alfred didn't push him to be, you know, socially active at all. Like, he kind of knew Bruce is going to just do this thing for as long as he can, and I'll just be here for him. But yeah, Bruce was just content to be his own, you know, emo, grunge, sad self. You know, yeah,
That's a good point. I was going to say that's a good point. In previous iterations of him, whether, you know, Michael Keaton through Ben Affleck, there, you know, we got to at least see a sports car. He had a love interest. He was out doing something, cracking jokes with, you know, whomever. But yeah, this was a dark depiction of him, more of a reclusive depiction of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anything that stands out to you about the other cast members? I thought Zoe did the Catwoman well. We mentioned Colin Farrell. Who was that played the that Riddler? Was not the Riddler we're all used to. And I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, when you think Batman, you think the characters are typically, I mean, the villains are typically outrageous in a way. I mean, going back to I don't want to go all the way back to the Adam West, you know, that was very campy, quote unquote, but they had distinct looks. They had distinct costumes that showed you who they are. But this Riddler was more of a terrorist.
Yes.
Yeah, he wasn't, he was lacking out of all the, I would say, everybody casting and portrayal. I think his was a little bit underwhelming. Like, I mean, I know he was crazy, but he didn't give me the Riddler I'm used to in this at all. He was like a terrorist. He wasn't really a Riddler. It was like, all right.
Oh man.
And I thought the riddles were the riddle / puzzles, because these were like real puzzles that
Yes.
Bruce and Alfred really had to kind of break down and decipher. This wasn't, you know, the what was the one Jim Carrey gave in Batman Forever? There's one about a chessboard. That one was kind of, if you think about it, you know, or a match those were kind of easy, but these were, you got to sit down and figure out where the pattern was, and this was overlaid over this. So these were really, really strong puzzles. So this was at kind of almost at a higher level than any previous Riddler that I think we had seen.
Yeah, his riddles just weren't riddles. They were coded ciphers. They were information that was supposed to lead Batman to the next clue. And what was interesting was that, close to the end of the movie, or the beginning of the third act, Batman hadn't figured out yet that he's being led through all this. After so many riddles and so many codes, he didn't realize that he's being strung along, which is part of the larger story.
Okay.
Get to that later.
Okay. How about, let's see. Yeah, and some other, I watched some other reviews. It was very much like a kind of a Seven type of thing, or a Saw type of thing. And also the things that this Riddler was doing, some of the things were pretty pretty carnal. I don't know if that's the right word. But just the things that he was doing to his victims were very, carnal. Especially his first killing at the beginning of the movie. I know this is a spoiler if you haven't seen it, but I think that was surprising, and I wasn't even sure that was the Riddler, because I wasn't used to seeing the Riddler throughout history do things like that.
Yeah, it was giving me Saw vibes. Yeah, the first scene of him killing the mayor was very Saw. It looks like a horror movie more. You know what I mean? Like, there's some elements that was very like horror movie. Like, it was like, oh, okay, they're going like that. They're getting that like deep with it, and the rats part, the scene with the rats, and I was like, okay.
That was very Saw. Saw like,
yeah.
How about we moved a little more towards diversity in this one? So we had Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. How did you guys like that?
Knocked it out the park. He's always good in everything he does. I love him. Love him in James Bond movies. I love him. He's just a great actor.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. I also thought that being in that position as an African American, he didn't push the envelope too far. Obviously, he was bringing Batman into crime scenes, and the character of Jim Gordon got a lot of heat for that. But I think it, in real life, there are many African American police officers who are very much aware of how far they can go as an African American in that position, and I thought he played that very well. He understood, okay, most of the cops around me are white men, so I have to really be almost laser focused and just play this completely straight and not make any mistakes outside of bringing Batman into active crime scenes, which I loved, because all the cops that were above him and below him kept saying, "Gordon, what are you doing? Why is he here? Get this guy out of here." Great job.
And I love how they showed the blue wall of silence, like illustration without saying it. Like, they showed it. You saw the blue wall of silence. And I get, when people doing their review that, this was like Matt Reeves incorporated a lot of things that was going on in our society into this movie. And you could see it. After you watching it, you see it. The blue wall of silence definitely was there in those scenes.
Okay, I think I missed that. I missed that symbolism. But okay, so my next question was in terms of production and plot. What did you guys think about what the movie was trying to say? Because this one, to me, it said a little bit more then this wasn't just a as Christopher Nolan said, an elemental story of good versus evil. This was saying something. What did you guys think the movie was saying?
Well, I think the Riddler was the driving force of the movie, and for him to, spoiler alert, for the Riddler to take out the mayor, the police chief, and the DA, and to cause a major flood throughout the entire city, and then to inspire people that were in his Discord groups or his Reddit groups to further on his mission, says a lot. Says a lot. I was when I was driving home, I was wondering, if there are any corrupt politicians, corrupt police officers, or corrupt district attorneys. If they saw that, what did they think? The Riddler, once he identified who was doing what, he could have very easily have just emailed that information to Bruce Wayne because he knew Bruce Wayne was Batman. He could have very much just emailed that to. He could have figured out a way to get Batman that information and let Batman do what Batman does.
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew he was Batman, though. I think because at the end, when they were in the spoiler alert, when they were in the hospital, the asylum, he was saying about Bruce Wayne, but he didn't know because Bruce Wayne thought he knew him. But then when he said, he didn't know that Bruce Wayne was Batman. I think we missed that. Like, we thought that he knew, but he didn't know. He didn't know in the end. Like, I think that's what a lot of us missed in the movie. Because when I rewatched it, I was like, oh no, the Riddler did not know that Bruce Wayne was Batman. He was just saying Bruce Wayne was privileged because everybody was Bruce Wayne, poor Bruce Wayne, poor Bruce Wayne, and everybody was so enamored with Bruce Wayne and not worrying about the other people or the other kids that needed help. But Bruce Wayne was a billionaire and a orphan. But what about the real orphans who needed help? So I don't think he knew Bruce Wayne was Batman. I mean, that's what I got from him. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Maybe I misinterpreted it, but I kind of leaned toward the Riddler actually knowing when the Riddler sent that bomb to Wayne Manor and Alfred opened it. And
yeah, but he wanted to kill him because remember his father? He said his father was the reason why the renewal was the reason when the corruption started to go crazy. And that started when Bruce Wayne's father was running for office, and he brought that with his philanthropy, he brought the corruption in because they took the money and squandered the money and was doing the corruption through that renewal. So that's why he wanted to kill Bruce Wayne, not because he knew that he was Batman. That's what I got from it. I mean, okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again. Because that's my interpretation.
Okay. Sure.
I thought hold on a second. I see Artist in there. He's into these types of things too. Did you see the Batman? Yeah, Artisan, did you see it? I thought it was I thought when he started with the lies, I thought he was speaking directly to what's happening today. Our politicians telling the truth. Artists, I'm gonna drop the link so you can come up with us. I thought that was saying something about the current political climate and whether or not the politicians are telling us the truth, and are they just lying to us? The same thing is true for the mainstream media, and also towards the end, the ending, as you said, his Discord server or whatever that was, that stood out to me because I think that's a fear today that's that people are gathering in digital spaces and you don't know who they are and you don't know where they are. But they can plot something like that. So I thought that was very, very clever, the way that they wrote that in there, because a lot of people are afraid of that there are people, you can't see their face, you don't know who they are, you just don't know. And so they do something like blow up the the floodgates of the city and flood the whole city. So I thought that's what that they were saying. This wasn't just a elemental story of good and evil, the way Christopher Nolan portrayed for us. Artisan's here. I'm going to add him. What's going on, Artisan?
What's going on, Dr. Anwar? How are you?
Good. Yourself?
All right, I'm doing good. Just opened up, getting my coffee for the day. I saw you guys were live. I was like, oh, Dr. Anwar talk about Batman? I gotta hear this.
Yeah, Artisan, I've heard stories of your fandom and your comic book fandom, and I think you know Kareem. This is my brother Amal. Amal, this is Artisan.
How are you, artist?
What's up, Kareem? I like that shirt, Amal. What's up?
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, you guys got lucky. I was gonna wear my Green Lantern hoodie today, but
hey,
disturbance in the force. I did my mask mercenaries instead. But wow. Yeah, I'm greened out today. So where were you guys at in the conversation?
So we were just talking about what the movie was trying to say, and I thought it said a lot. I thought it said more than any of the other previous iterations were saying. I thought there was a lot of commentary about what's happening in society right now in terms of what the political class is telling us and what they're not telling us. And then I thought the piece at the end when the Riddler, we found out that he was in a social media or in a digital backroom somewhere organizing all this stuff. I thought that people are afraid of that today. But what did you see?
I would agree with that because the biggest connection I made to that was that show, The Following, with Kevin Bacon, how in American culture, serial killers and people who do this kind of mass killings and stuff like that always have a following of, people who agree with them. And that in this modern era, you can connect with them through the internet. So Riddler getting arrested and then all these other guys showing up with these masks and stuff on is like, that was poking a little too close to home for some people, I'm sure, because I didn't see a lot of black dudes getting unmasked. I'm just saying.
No.
So it's something that's common, and I thought it was a good parallel between this Batman movie and the Joker movie at the same time, because it hit on the same thing. Disaffected, white dudes about the age of 30 dealing with society that is not looking after their best interests, and seeing these corrupt politicians and rich people and how they go about taking care of that situation, in a sense of getting some a little bit of revenge, if you would. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was a good parallel between the two movies, that you see this same theme loosely in between the two. Just Riddler, he took it to another level because he actually did kill people, and actually did at the end with the bombs actually commit mass murder, and nobody's thinking about that. Like, oh, it was just water. I said, no, he drowned, like, I'm sure a couple thousand people outside of the politicians and the people in the government, local government, that he killed personally. He, by efforts, killed a bunch more people. So I was like, it's a little close. I don't know how these white folks gonna take it. They maybe.
Well, it's funny. Some have accused what happens on YouTube as that. With the Manosphere talks, and no, seriously, yeah, some people have accused, or some have projected that that's what the red pill community is, that all these angry guys in a back room somewhere, just kind of feeding off each other, just so that's a I think there's a lot of concern for what happens on the internet.
I think it is. Anytime you have a gathering of, let's just say it, men who are disaffected, could be kind of angry about the situation and the way it's going, somebody is going to take notice and really try to pay attention to them, because that's the things that, wars, coups, and all kinds of stuff is actually made of. Revolutions are fought for just those same reasons. Like, we don't even like these taxes, they trying to charge us too much. get together, meet and talk about this and develop a plan to get from under this rule of this empire. We'll be our own group, you know? So I can understand why they take a little bit of notice of that, but most of the time it's just projection to me. To me, it's just projection because you wouldn't have a worry like that if you know you wasn't doing anything messed up to these people. It wouldn't even be a concern of you. It would just be like, oh, look, they having a conversation. Anyway, you go about your business just like most people do with every other group that does that. So at least going through the internet, because you can get to more people that most people who are looking at this don't know and can't find out who they are, that makes them a little bit more insecure. That's all it is. To me, at least.
Okay. Well, I definitely think there was something there about losing control over the masses, and not knowing what the masses are doing and plotting in dark spaces. I was going to say that so the movie was about 3 hours long. There was a point at which I did look at my watch in the theater and say, okay, how long is this? And there was a point at which I thought it was over.
Yep.
But when it kept going, like I think when they caught the Riddler, I said, okay, this is gonna, it's gonna wrap up pretty soon. And then when he blew the walls of the river and the sea started flooding, I said, whoa, this is getting really dark.
Yeah.
Because I think Christopher Nolan would have gave Christian Bale a way to stop this.
Yeah, exactly. He would have.
The city's literally flooding.
People are dying, like for real. That was the part with me. I said the same thing too. It's like there was on my first viewing, there was a point that I thought, okay, this should be about over right now, and it cranked up again. I'm like, oh, what the heck? I thought it was time to go. It's not time to go. Okay, we still got more story. Now I did think on first viewing they could have cut some of that out, that whole scene where they went to the orphanage and stuff. You could have cut that down. I didn't need the drophead crackheads. I'm good. I'm black. I lived through the 80s. I'm good. I don't need to see that. I know what it looks like. That was not that interesting to me. They could have cut that down a little bit, but the rest of the story and how it ended, I thought it was good for at least the character of Batman, because metaphorically he's coming out of the shadows, and all these people, all these regular people are actually seeing him and seeing him as something to look toward that would help them, as opposed to just the criminals in the beginning, knowing that this is somebody to be afraid of, that if he shows up, something's happened. So I thought it was actually really good, even though a lot of people died at the end. You don't get the same stigma on this movie with Batman that you would get from Man of Steel #1, where a lot of people was dying in Gotham, and he was like, well, he's not Superman yet. He's new. People were complaining about that he didn't save enough people, but here it is in a Batman movie. A lot of people got killed. Yeah, you saw him on the roof with a lot of people, but that ain't everybody in Gotham that was living by those walls and stuff like that, because they said it in there. They didn't have enough time to evacuate everybody. So yeah, it got really dark.
Yeah, and they let the mayor get shot. They let their black woman mayor get shot. I was like, whoa, are they gonna kill her?
She let herself get shot.
Yeah, she let herself get shot. You're right. That part.
She thought
Gordon did warn her. Gordon did warn her. She was like a black woman, don't want to listen, so she got shot.
There you go. He told her you can't go out there. No, I'm gonna go out there. I gotta keep people calm. Okay, have it your way. It didn't take 10 minutes, boy. She got like.
And I actually like that.
Lucky scene. Vital parts. You lucky.
I like that scene. I like that scene because it shows. I like I said, I like the movie, and I like how they showed the corruption. Like we was talking before about the police with the blue wall of silence. Like I got that instantly during those scenes when the police was surrounding him. I got that. That was like, okay, this guy is doing a statement about that.
Yeah, because they were just looking for. You saying that the blue wall of silence makes that scene really work. It's that they're really angry and looking for somebody to lash out on because their chief and everybody else is getting killed, and he's the one that's there. Well, you just watched the DA get blowed up. He didn't strap a bomb to his neck. He walked in there when y'all was sitting, outside of the barricades and actually tried to solve this riddle and get this dude loose. He stood there and took the whole damn near brunt of the explosion outside of the DA getting blown to pieces. So What you mad at him for? You know, everybody wants to get a look at his face and not think about the fact he was trying to actually help. What were you doing? Sending a robot in there to touch the phone? Come on, man. Like,
I have one question though. In that scene, when they brought him to the police station, why didn't they remove his mask? Like, I don't know. Why did they like actually? I know how they're not gonna but I wanted them to kind of. I don't know. I wanted them to even try to attempt to remove the mask.
I would
A little
think
bit.
that, yeah, I would think that Gordon was probably, this is just me filling in because they don't go over this in the story, but I would think Gordon was protecting him and keeping his mask from being pulled off, or they were leaving it for the new police chief, the intern guy. How you guys doing? All right. If you need help, just let me know. And or let the intern guy do it because, you know, he's the new leader, so the leader gets to do it first. But him fighting all those police officers in there, like, I got you on a truck hitting the officer, and he said, you got me on hitting 3. I'm like, you ready to go? I want to see it. Can you take the whole room or what? I'm curious. So I wasn't feeling bad for him. I was incompetent.
I thought that was maybe one of the weaker scenes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how a police officer can look at an unconscious Batman and not take his mask off. I don't know how they take him all the way there and lay him on a table and say, I wonder who he is. Mask off. It's like, guys, you really did that? But then also, I don't know how I don't know if Chris Nolan's Batman actually stands in front of somebody who has a bomb on their chest and on their neck and waits for the clock to go to 0. I don't know. Like, the Christian Bale Batman wouldn't have did that.
No, he would have tried something else. I think he would have had another gadget. And that was one of the things that I liked about this one, that he had gadgets, but he wasn't gadget man. He didn't have a gadget for everything at the moment. I liked that it was more him in his element and being that detective and not relying on every gadget he has just to try to solve something, that he actually had a brain. Okay, so he was trying to figure it out. And him being shocked, even though he was helping the DA with the answers, he was still sitting there. I don't think he thought I wouldn't say that. He knew the bomb was going to go off, but he didn't run. So, like he told Alfred earlier in the movie, he was not afraid to die. That's why he was still standing there when the shit went to 0. He was not afraid to die. He probably was seeing it as a break or a respite, because in the beginning of the movie, you see that he's getting ground down by 2 years of doing this already.
Yeah.
Already he's a little reevaluating his choices. Am I really doing this? There's nothing really left. Don't give a damn about whoever Bruce Wayne was supposed to be. I'm not that dude. I'm this dude out here every night doing this. This is what I do. So he's already in the headspace where he doesn't really care, you know, running on anger and vengeance and not really caring. So I could see that character in year 2 standing there when the bomb goes off and being like, whatever, and then waking up saying, "Ah, crap, I didn't die." You know, it's not over. I got to do it again. So
Right.
To Rain 2, I think that's how you pronounce that. Asked, I'm thinking about this. What are some of your favorite scenes from the movie?
Oh, some of my favorite scenes from the movie. I'll go backwards because that'll make sense. I like the scene. It's 2 scenes at the very end. That's when him and Catwoman come to the awning on the motorcycles, and they're sitting there together. That's a good scene. She veers off and goes to the left. He goes right, but he's still looking at her in his rearview mirror. And I like the way it ended because it showed him watching her go. He was wanting to go with her. He knows that. You can tell he's wanting to actually go, because from the first time she showed up on the scene, you see that he was actually taken by her right off the bat, but he's just all stoic with what's going on with him emotionally. He's kind of cut off to that, so he's pushing it away. But at that end, you see he's probably wanting to go with her, and he does it. And once she disappears, he just looks forward and focuses on the mission. So he's back on task with what's going on, and you hear the engine rev and he speeds up. He's going towards his destiny and not taking that other path. I like that scene. That even though there's nothing said in it, it works for me. Other scene is with 1 second. Did you guys see the Batman movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not spoiling anything. Okay. Just making sure. You got a young kid in here. I don't want to spoil it for him. Like, do we still need to go see the movie? Like, okay. So when he's in the hospital with Alfred, I thought that was a really well acted scene. That scene really resonated with me because to me it was really powerful. Because the messed up part of it is that Alfred's just waking up from being blown up, and Bruce is just giving him like the low key emo third degree about you lied to me. Like, I just woke up. But at the same time, Alfred knows what he's talking about and is connecting with him. And Alfred puts out his hand. And I think that's the one time you see anybody in this movie outside of Catwoman actually touch him. And it's given, Alfred sticks out his hand and he grabs Alfred's hands. And that's, to me, a sense of solidarity, that there is some kinship and appreciation for each other. Even though he was kind of messing with Alfred earlier in the movie, told him he wasn't a father, which is like, that's like stepdaddy, heart punch right there. Like, I did everything for you. You ain't my daddy. Oh, really? We gonna go there. Okay, your dinner will be ready.
Wow.
To me, that was kind of messed up, but seeing him when Alfred was actually hurt and him being there and letting go of that anger he had for what he didn't know and what his father possibly was, and Alfred reasserting, no, your dad was a good man. Yes, he did these things, but he was a good man. And him holding Alfred's hands, it showed that Bruce Wayne was not completely lost yet. He wasn't completely lost. He still had some feeling. Have a good one, you guys. And had some feeling for Alfred. That was a good scene. What's the other one? Him talking to the Penguin in the Iceberg Lounge the first time they met, and they're just sitting up there talking. To me, that was kind of reminiscent of Heat to me, because Batman is a vigilante. He doesn't like criminals at all, really. But he's rolled into this club through the front door, not through the ceiling, through the front door, and he's sitting down or standing around in this dude's office having a conversation with him. He's a criminal. You see him taking money and selling drugs right in front of you, but you're still getting this information from him. You're still having that conversation. To me, that played a little bit like that scene in Heat with Al Pacino and why am I gonna forget his name now?
Robert De Niro.
Thank you. My coffee ain't working. Yes, Robert De Niro, where they know what they do. And they're not, overly fixated on that at the moment, but they're just having a conversation like two regular people. That's always really interesting to me when I see that dynamic, because that's what they're doing. Batman is being Batman. Oswald's being Ozzy, but he's just talking to him because he's a little interested in his character. But Batman is really there trying to get some information. So they just have a conversation. So they, guns and threats and stuff like that, they're just actually talking. And Oswald is doing most of the talking. So it was interesting. Other than that,
I like the entrance scenes where there are a couple times when they put it on a like a doorway, a dark doorway, and all of a sudden you can hear the step.
Oh yeah.
The steps, and all of a sudden he'd emerge.
I love that. I love that. First viewing, second viewing. I got that gift now too. I used that GIF in a video I recently did. But yeah, I love that. That was perfect. Just psychological, fear, intimidation going on. Like when he creep out the darkness, and I'm like, oh, it's on. And he just walking. He's not running up. He just slow walking. I'm like, boy, that's that like Jason walk. Dude, just it's like they stuck. They don't even know what to do. They don't even run. It's like, this dude's real? Yeah, he's real. Really in front of you. Really about to get on you. It's like, that was good. That was well shot. There was a lot of scenes in it that were really well shot, and there were a lot of scenes that were just good for me dialogue wise. That there was a lot going on, dialogue and emotional weight with the character that was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that part.
Okay, there's one thing I noticed about the feel of the movie. It was raining most of the time. It was raining.
Yeah.
Dark. And I think that really set the mood.
Yeah.
It was raining. It was wet. It was dark. It wasn't a happy place.
No, I mean, you saw the sunlight sometimes, but it wasn't all of that. And the rain and the darkness is all emotional metaphors. You know, rain for sadness or dreariness or whatever, and the darkness is for your fears and what comes out of the dark. So I liked it. The first report I heard on the movie was somebody was saying it was too dark, and I'm like, it's a Batman movie.
Just a little pushback, Addison, on the people complaining. Now, my daughter saw it, and my daughter never watched Batman ever in her life, and she saw the movie, and she said it was weird. For some younger kids, it might be a little bit too much, but for people who are into Batman and who are a little bit older, it's fine. But for just the littler kids not really into Batman, it's a bit too dark for them. Just that.
Well, that's why I say that it plays on emotions, because that fear makes little kids scared, and that's what it's supposed to be doing. Especially those scenes where you see it's really draped in darkness. He's supposed to be sneaking around, seeing some stuff. Because I'm one for saying this movie is not for kids. You shouldn't be taking your little kids to go see this shit.
Okay.
It's not a movie for kids, because if you really think about a Batman story, who he's going after, and I had another conversation where we talked about this and other villains that can show up in this universe that you would want to see. Most of these other villains are actually killers. They're murderers and stuff like that, like rapists, all kind of stuff. You know, really gruesome stuff. And Batman is walking into every one of these scenes like CSI. They haven't cleaned it up. There's no crime scene cleaners. He's showing up when the stuff is done, helping the police. So that gritty feel and that darkness is what older folks actually gravitate to Batman for. And kids only get to the light side of it that they sell cartoons and mugs and underwear off of, you know, and that's, you can go to Joe Schumacher for that. And most people who are Batman fans hated the movies because they was too fucking bright. All the neon stuff, I said, that's not Batman, dude. Batmobile's not supposed to light up like a toy. No. It's supposed to be dark.
What did you think of the Batmobile in this one, though? I wish they had more nicer cars, though. I kind of miss the nice cars. I think they did more.
Initially, this is the funny part. I like getting turned around on things sometimes. People change my mind on stuff because it doesn't happen too often. But initially, when I saw the Batmobile, when they released the first pictures of it, I was like, that don't look too much of anything, right? Because it was just a picture. Seeing it in the movie and the scene that it had in the movie, it became a character in the movie, and it was brief. It was only a small amount of time that you saw the Batmobile. It did its thing, and it was out of there. It was done the rest of the movie. You didn't have to actually really see it. But when it showed up on the screen, it was like another character. That blue light in the background, that red on the inside, flames coming out to force. I'm like, whoa, that's a beast. And the scene, he's driving like he does not care about his life in the rain, which actually makes it worse. Like, it's one thing to have a chase scene with a car down a busy street. It's a whole nother thing to drive in the rain. I'm in California. People can't drive when they get a little drizzle outside. Pouring down rain? Oh, no, I'm not driving fast. I want to be off the freeway. This is a death trap. It's like driving into Matrix. You're going to die, dude. That was crazy. But good, what is that? Ethereal energy. Like, that's an animal right there on wheels. Like, has its own ground. But, okay, I feel that. So I liked it. In the end, I ended up liking it. I was like, okay. Thought it was stripped down. It didn't look like, but at the end, like, oh, I like that Batmobile. Got some muscle. Okay, I'm good. Still like the tumbler too, but it is what it is.
You know, Artisan, you made a good point that it's not for kids. I'm looking at this poster. I wish I could blow this up. That poster does look like something like Seven or Saw, especially when you see that bloody writing around, bloody question mark. What was this rated? Was it rated PG-13 or was it rated R?
It was PG-13, and they were pushing the PG-13 to try to get close to R, because I think the studio wanted the PG-13 to make it sell.
It should have been almost R.
Yeah, it
should have been
close
R.
to R. Yeah, it's brushing the line.
Okay,
absolutely, real close.
Yeah, but you open the movie with a dude being bludgeoned to death in his living room and having his face taped up so he's suffocating, and then seeing that his hand was cut off while he was alive. I'm like, okay, I don't know what kids you got, but 8-year-old, I might not let him watch it with me.
Yeah. One character had his thumb cut off, right? And
Yeah, that was the guy right in the beginning.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there
yeah.
was a lot happened to that one dude right in the beginning. Like, yeah, no, that might not be for certain kids. I could see a PG-13. I could see a 13-year-old. I couldn't see younger than that. And on my second viewing, there was a kid in there about 10 with his dad watching the movie. And the only part he really squelched at was when Selena Kyle kissed Batman. He was like, "Ew."
And I like that. I
You
like
are a
it.
kid. He was
I
good
like-
all up to that
I
point. Like, all right.
I usually like romance in these movies, but I like that it was kind of it wasn't as much in here. It was central, but it wasn't like in your face. I like that in this movie.
No,
I love that part.
Yeah, she was more so trying to seduce him in a sense and work her charms like she worked on the DA and stuff like that and how she operated in the world, and he just wasn't having an effect. And I think that plays up to how Selena Kyle and Batman, or Catwoman and Batman, end up actually messing around with each other in the books, because she's always trying to get at him and he doesn't respond to that stuff. It's the same way Joker's always doing something to Batman to try to get a response out of him, and he doesn't get the response he's looking for, because Batman in some senses is emotionally cut off. In some ways, he's emotionally cut off. You read any of the Batman books, that's all the rest of the Bat family bitch about, is how they can't connect with Bruce. That's why everybody's Alfred's, little kid and they best friend, because they can't really connect with Bruce all the time. They really can't, because he's really on his mission. Part of him was really lost as a child, and it never came back. So
I'm gonna read this comment from I don't know if that's Terrain 2 or just Rain, but Rain 2. Okay. He or she, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but they say, I know one guy back in 2017 mentioned he wanted Riddler to be like Jigsaw, which is insane. Man's predicting the future. LOL. Yep, this character very much reminded me of the Jigsaw.
Well, that's the conversation always with the Riddler, is that one of the best things about the Riddler is one of the worst things about the Riddler is, like, Riddler is really smart, but he always leaves clues because he wants to be caught. So that's his psychological dysfunction, that he needs to be caught. He needs to be punished for what he did, right? If he stopped doing that, he would actually win every time, because Riddler is a genius. And that's why it takes Batman, in a sense, to find him, because Batman is not stupid either. So if the Riddler is not trying to leave clues to help you catch up to him, he would kill everybody he was trying to kill, without a doubt. So it makes him a more interesting character on film, because on film, in a hopefully 2-hour medium, not a 3-hour medium, you can get into that psychological play of what's going on with him. You can't get into that in a cartoon for kids and stuff like that. It's not going to work. It's different rules apply. But for a mainstream audience on a movie screen, yeah, you can get into that. Those kind of movies always, kind of work. That darker, gritty feel, yeah. You'd be worried about a dude that's named the Riddler and not taking him as a joke because he's running around with a question mark jacket on. But no, no, you'd be thinking this dude's a problem.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going on an hour here. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. How do you guys think Robert Pattinson did as? We kind of touched upon how he did as Bruce Wayne, but how do you think he did as the Batman and Bruce Wayne? Do you think he compared to the others?
I don't think he did well as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I don't think he did a whole lot of acting. That's okay, because those moments where he had to be either, I feel like the script was set up so that he didn't have to do a whole lot of acting. But one of the things about how this movie was made that I really liked was that because no one knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne, there was a scene toward the end where I think he entered the city on his motorcycle, but then he had to go into the Iceberg Lounge, but not as Batman. And so you see him, he's in the costume, and in like the next couple shots, he's out of the costume. and he had on like a hoodie and like sweatpants over his bat suit. I was like, wow, that's really smart, because no one knows who he is. They think, oh, he's Bruce Wayne. He's this broken billionaire whose parents got shot in the streets. I feel bad for him, but really he's got a bat suit on under the hoodie and under the sweatpants. I thought, wow, that's really smart. If he could just get the black makeup off his eyes, I mean, he can go anywhere and be either one. So,
Okay.
But I mean, good choice, because he's young and he can grow into that franchise. So it's a good choice.
Okay, Kareem.
He brings all the Twilight fans. So all the young girls, all the young ladies that had a crush on him, they're going to see that.
That's a really good point.
They're going to go see that.
I've said it before that my favorite always will be my favorite is Michael Keaton because of the nostalgia. So hands down. But he was good. He was good as Batman. I just, like I said, in the next movie, I hope they play up the sophisticated, a little bit more debonair Bruce. I know he's broken, but please play that up. I know outside he's supposed to be played that part as that he's like that. So I want him to be like that in the next movie. Play a little bit more debonair and sophisticated as Bruce. But they did a good job with him. I think he did it good. I have to give him credit. I was shocked that he did so good. I was expecting him to be more I don't know. I wasn't expecting him to be so good for some reason. But he surprised me.
Yeah, you can leave it right there. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Sorry, you guys.
No, that's cool. How about you, Arson? Did you like him as the Batman?
Yes, I like that. For the time frame that is happening in a year or two since, that Bruce Wayne is a bit limited in this one. That you don't see a lot of Bruce Wayne, because I didn't need that really. It leaned more on him being Batman, and his performance of Batman is not based on him having a lot of dialogue, because Batman doesn't. Batman, if you read Batman comics, he doesn't usually have a lot of dialogue. A lot of his stuff is thought bubbles, him thinking and everything going on cerebrally inside of himself, and not a lot of projecting outward what's going on and all the rest of it. That's what makes people irritated with him, right? So seeing Robert Pattinson's performance in this, having seen him in other movies act, I know he can act, and I know he's acting like Bruce Wayne, but a lot of his performance is right here in his eyes, in the absence of what should be happening with him, and not the presence of all this emotional acting and movements and stuff like that. Because that best scene, one of the ones I forgot, with him standing in Arkham and the Riddler sitting there talking at him about and saying that name, Bruce Wayne and stuff, you could see it all on his face. He's resigned that it's over for him. He's kind of resigned in his head that this dude knows who I really am. It's over. All this thing is about to fall apart right now. And then when he finally realizes that guy doesn't know exactly who he is, he gets pissed off.
See, Amal, he didn't know. He didn't know.
He didn't know. He didn't know. He's just saying that because he's thinking that, okay, this is the one that didn't get killed. We should have killed him. And that is messing with Batman because he couldn't stop it. But Riddler hadn't figured out that Batman was Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne thought he knew. He didn't. So the acting that Robert Pattinson did in that scene, you could see it in his eyes. It's just like a well of sorrow and stuff like that. He was just sitting there in the dark and just basically hiding in the dark, going through all of this stuff. And then the dude finally says, "Oh, we missed him." And he's like, "What?" He actually turned like, "What? Wait a minute, what? Oh, you don't know? Oh yeah, now I want to kick you. Now I want to kick off in you." So that was really good. Did he blow me away as Batman? No, but I wasn't expecting him to. I mean, if he did, it would have been awesome, but then that would have been a different movie. That would have been, an action feast and not a detective story. I like what he did in this role, how it matches up to the other ones. I put him next to Michael Keaton. I mean, even though I like Christian Bale's Batman was completely different. It's all about action, being out there talking a lot and having a lot of fights and getting it going. And I like Christian Bale, I like Christopher Nolan, but this Batman and Michael Keaton's Batman could probably be the same person, just earlier in his time span. Could almost be the same person. So it's more going on with them internally and not externally, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, see, we're right at an hour. I'll just let this go a few more minutes. I know my brother's big on the fight scenes. I remember a lot of this. He was doing a lot of this, a lot of punching, guys on the ground.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fight scenes?
I wasn't completely impressed, although there were a lot of wide shots where they showed how many people were actually coming at him. So I like the really pulled back wide shots of him fighting like 7 or 8 guys. They didn't really emphasize his martial arts as they did with the Chris Nolan movies, because you have to see where he learned those martial arts. But yeah, I mean, some of those, if you watch mixed martial arts or UFC, some of those scenes of him ground and pounding people is pretty vicious. And actually toward the end, one of those Riddlers from that Discord group, when he unmasked him, I think it was Commissioner Gordon or Catwoman asked him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Vengeance." But his face was swollen. It's like, oh, that's the guy that Batman grounded and pounded at the beginning of the movie. So those fight scenes weren't as impressive, but interesting nonetheless.
Was his face swollen because he was the guy from the beginning of the movie, or was his face swollen because they just pulled Batman off of him when he was shot himself up with venom? It could have been either. Either. I was thinking it was that, but that's a good connection. I have to actually check that to see if that was that same guy, because that first guy was he was the leader of that little Joker's group.
Yeah.
Right? He got beat up, so that was a Latino guy, but I didn't think that was a Latino guy he unmasked at the end, because that dude was getting the hell beat out of him, and I didn't think they was gonna stop. But
well, when I think Commissioner Gordon asked him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Vengeance."
Yeah, he was the one that got away.
That was a callback.
Yeah, he was the one that got away. Remember, he ran off. He was the one that ran off.
That would make sense why he said, "I'm Vengeance." That would be fun. That would be a funny nod. Oh, I gotta check on that. Good one.
Yeah,
Good one.
I'll have to.
I gotta check on that.
Go check that out again.
Yeah, see, Rain is saying it too. Yeah, I gotta rewatch that. That's a good one.
Here's a question for you all. So
that's why it's good to watch these movies. Sorry.
Yeah, in Arkham, Riddler was talking to Joker, right? That was Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Joker. It was this universe's version of Joker. It was the guy you had up on when you had the cast up there. It's the guy from the Eternals movie who was playing Druig in the Eternals movie. I can't remember how to say his name, but that was the Joker that they had in there. Everybody was thinking it was Two-Face because they saw half a grin or grimace on his face, but they weren't trying to show that much of him for that reason, because they didn't want to go into the Joker thing. But I'm like, then why put him in there?
That part wasn't needed. Yeah,
I don't need another Joker right now. I just got warmed up to Joaquin Phoenix. I don't need another Joker right now. I'm good on Jokers.
Yeah,
we full up. We got a whole pack of Jokers back here. We good.
The guy that played Carmine, the mobster guy. He's a big time actor. I forgot his name. He was
John
so
Turturro.
good in the movie too. Oh
John
my God, he
Turturro.
was so good in the movie too.
Awesome. He was awesome. I was surprised to even see him in that movie. Like, hey, he in this? Falcone? Oh my God, dude. I was loving that. That was a good Easter egg for me. I didn't even know he was in the movie. And he showed up playing Falcone. He's like, I'm totally believing this now. I really believe this. This is like way better than Eric Roberts. I like Eric Roberts, but Turturro was killing it for me.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, Artisan, are you in a comic book store?
Yeah, I'm in my shop.
Okay, Artisan got a shop. I just
in my shop
together.
It's Saturday. It's Saturday. I get to be here.
So apparently, the Riddler has a website.
Oh yes.
Riddler's website.
At the end of the movie.
I visited. I visited that website. When I went back the second time to see the movie, that's what I went back. One of the things I went back for, because I saw the end credit scene, but I didn't see the website thing flash on there. But if you watch the movie, you don't need to. You know what the website is, what El Ratata or whatever it is .com, and you go on there and it's another riddle, and it's like, I don't have a damn cipher, dude. How am I gonna decipher this? So I saved it, but it's like, whatever, dude. It's just the studio put it together. It's like, awesome. It's another, I guess, video or something like that for some other crime he was planning. Like, okay, that was underwhelming. All right.
I have a question. The story with the Russian girl, right? The Russian girl and Selena. What was they trying to do with that? Because she kept on saying baby, baby. I know they were friends, but what was that? That was kind of like, I don't know.
They always, every time they put Catwoman in the movie, at least the last 2 times that they've done, they always give Catwoman some little girlfriend, and not sexual girlfriend, but girlfriend. They always give her some girlfriend that she's looking after. Why that is, I think it comes from the comic books, but she's always looking after some other female, in a sense. Saying that whole baby stuff makes it seem like, you know, they're trying to grab that audience without having her make out with the chick.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you notice too, Artisan, when at the end, sorry, Dr. Dunbar, at the end when Batman was falling and Catwoman with her small self pulling him up, I was like, okay, why they always do that? They don't need to do stuff like that in these movies because she's so tiny. Come on.
It's one of the things that is supposed to show that Selena is saving Batman herself, but come on, Zoe Kravitz has got to be 100 pounds. She's not pulling this big old dude with all this weighted armor on hanging off the side of the gantry by herself. That's look. No, she's getting pulled over with him. I understand how counterweight works. She doesn't have enough counterweight to pull his big butt up. She just doesn't, dude. She's going over with him. He had a better chance of holding on to her than her pulling him back up. But it's a movie. Suspension of disbelief. Apparently, I'm supposed to believe with all that weight and beat up and double barrel shotgun to the chest, he held on for like 5 minutes with one hand. I saw his arms. They ain't that big. So, okay, whatever. It's a movie. I'll suspend my disbelief for that one. How you ladies doing?
Okay.
If you need help, just let me know.
Well, everyone, we're just over an hour. I'll go ahead and wrap up. I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. Of course, I've been sitting at this computer all day myself. So I'll go around for parting thoughts, or so there'll be a follow-up. Yes, they're going to do this. Another one.
Yes, they got approved for a number 2, so they're going to do a number 2.
I mean, DC, man, they keep
and spin-off shows too.
Yeah, they keep rebooting everything, and it's just okay. So this one will be here for at least a sequel.
Yeah, at least one sequel, and then 2 spin-off shows. What is it? GCPD, and then Oswald Penguin show, both on HBO Max. What that's going to be? It'll be Colin Farrell. What's it going to be after that? I don't know. I'd probably rather see that on the screen rather than seeing it on a TV show. But it is what it is. They're going to give it the Peacemaker treatment, I guess. Maybe that's how they're doing their deals now. Instead of giving you multiple movies as a director, they'll let you do that first movie, see how it works, and then they'll give you an HBO Max show that you can come and work some of that stuff out. Because apparently it worked for James Gunn. You got one Suicide Squad movie, one spinoff show. Matt Reeves, one Batman movie, 2 spinoff shows. So maybe the third director will get 3. I don't know. It's just watching the pattern play out. That's all it is.
Okay. Well, parting shots or thoughts. Artisan, you go first. You already gave us so much, but
yeah. Thank you for doing this. I was surprised. I don't know why I didn't even think of you that you would actually review the movie.
Yeah, this is my smallest channel. I'm using you can call it a house of brands approach. But we need to click up because I know I've heard tales of your fandom. you have a store, so
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
own a store now, so I have to do some rehiring now too, as well. But I do own the shop that I used to work at, and I bought my comics from since the '80s. So I now own this shop. So working on that. I did my couple of reviews on this. I'm not saying that to plug it, but I did.
Go for it.
We did like an 8-hour stream talking about Batman all last
Wow.
week. So the whole stream ended up being about this movie, running the panel talking about this movie. So I'm telling you, I'm not telling everybody else. I'm telling you, check that out. And then I did a reaction after I saw it the first time, which was about an hour or so. So I did that. So I liked it. Really enjoyed this movie. I would really love to see this world come alive again in a sequel, maybe 2 years later, and maybe with another villain, not the Joker whatsoever. I don't want to see any CG villains in this at all. Nobody who needs a bunch of special effects or CG effects. I want to see some really ground level villains, you know, that he can actually get into and more detective stuff, because that'd be more fun for me. If it gets super Hollywood, I'll be like, yeah, the first one was good. I'm out on the second one. It'll be over for me. As long as Batman never glitters, I'm good. But that's it. Thanks for having me up here. And I agree with the multi-brand approach. So
Okay. Well, thank you,
yes,
Art.
nice meeting you, brother.
We'll be in touch.
Good
Thank
to
you,
see you. And I will get back to bagging books.
All right. Take care.
Peace.
Take care, Artisan.
Does either one want to go first, or
Kareem, I can go.
all right?
Well, my initial thoughts after watching it was that how do they do a part two, and more importantly, how do they do a part two that's gonna interest me? I don't like after watching Batman Begins, I left feeling like I'd watched a story where if someone had the resources, they could be Batman for a couple of days. Like if you had like a small tank, if you had like these beta tested military weapons, and if you had the right training, like you can go and actually be Batman for a couple of days. After watching this movie, I just felt like, wow, the Riddler took out some corrupt politicians, police, and lawyers. That was kind of my larger takeaway. And still, like, how does that world of the Batman fit into the larger world of DC, or will this just be a standalone, sort of an Elseworlds tale where Superman and Wonder Woman and the Flash don't exist, which is fine, but I'm still concerned about how do they keep telling stories in that world, because what the Riddler did was so striking and so shocking.
Well, I should have asked Artisan about this. Isn't DC going to take their own stab at the multiverse at some point?
They are.
Yeah.
They're gonna do the multiverse. So that's how they're gonna do it. It's gonna do the multiverse because they're changing out some of these actors. Because we're already used to the Justice Leagues with Jason, with Gal Gadot, with Ben Affleck. So how are you gonna introduce Robert Pattinson into the Justice League if they do another Justice League movie if we don't have Ben Affleck as Batman, right? So what they're gonna do is do a multiverse type of thing, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3 type thing like they do. That's what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Marvel showed that it could be done.
I mean, DC has been doing it for years. I mean, they've done it with the
True.
Arrowverse on CW.
He's back.
They do it, so they've been doing it for a while. Oh, Artist is back.
You want to say Candyman? No. I heard multiverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I heard recently was that yes, they're doing the multiverse. You have the this year you got the Flash movie coming out, which is supposed to be like Flashpoint, where you will have 2 separate Batman in it. And the most recent news I heard was DC was going to try to fold this universe into that whole thing after that Flash movie. This will kind of be canon in a sense. I don't know how they're going to work it out, probably with some kind of reshoots, but that's what I understand that they're supposed to be doing because it was such a success. And Matt Reeves did this movie to be its own standalone thing, just like the Joker. They're going to try to rework that whole Justice League situation or just put it on a different earth and still tell all these stories that they did. Because truthfully, DC has been operating that way for a long time anyway, that if you did Warner movies and then did Warner TV shows, that stuff was always in different universes anyway. It just recently with the Arrowverse brought all those things together for the fans to understand, yes, they are all separate universes, so they all can exist at the same time. And now with that Flash movie, they're trying to bring all that stuff together in the cinematic way. So they might just redo the Justice League. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily see that, but they're just, DC House is out of order. Just put it that way.
I mean, it's a crime because they left us hanging with the Snyder Cut. I mean, there was more to be done.
I tell you, Warner Brothers didn't want to do the Snyder Cut. You have to understand there's two ways this goes. When you see a Warner Brothers movie and then a separate HBO Max show, how it used to work before they started selling everything, is that HBO Max was what AT&T had more control of when they bought Warner. And Warner Films was always trying to do its own thing. So that's why they put out that JLA movie and they said there is no Snyder Cut. But then HBO Max came back and gave Snyder money to produce the Snyder Cut because that's the parent company, the new owner saying, okay, we'll give you money to finish that regardless of what the film division is doing, right? That's why you got a Snyder Cut and the JLA still existed. Well, with AT&T selling off HBO Max and Warner and all that stuff and somebody else coming in to buy them, it's kind of in limbo right now where the film division is kind of in charge still again, and they're saying there ain't gonna be another Snyder Cut. Screw you, we don't even like Snyder. They want these individual movies like the Joker and the Batman and stuff. They want those. They don't want the Snyder universe. They want to get away from it. So that's why you got those two things, and it seems like it's a jumbled mess because it is. Nobody knows exactly what the hell is going on with them, so they can't sign on to do anything. And they still got some issues with Ray Fisher and stuff like that they ain't cleaned up. So, see him, I know, they ain't cleaned that up yet. So, look, Warner got its own problems right now. That's why they're trying to do these one-shot movies that are not tied to anything else because basically they can't pull it together like Marvel does. There's no one person over all of that Warner stuff to actually bring it all together into some unification. There's no Kevin Feige over there. There isn't. There's no Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni over there. There's a bunch of other people, vice presidents and stuff like that running these different divisions that don't want to talk and don't want to work together. So it is what it is. AT&T was cleaning that up, but they're getting out of it now. So back to what it used to be.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Nice question. To the panel. In this movie, they tried to show this really gritty realism. Would you have thought the movie would have been better if there were scenes, and we don't have to get too deep into this and mention any names, would you have thought that this world was grounded a little more in reality if people were wearing masks?
Yeah, it would have definitely put it here.
Yeah. I think it would have in the background, definitely in the background.
Yes.
Like that scene when it was burying the mayor, if there was people wearing masks, like it would have been better for me. I don't know. I think it would be more grounded, but it worked. It was a good movie, it worked. I liked it. I mean,
well, I thought it was interesting. The first scene that you see Robert Pattinson in, he is wearing a mask. When he's out on the streets, he is wearing a mask. But I think that's just something they don't put in the movies because you want to see the people's mouth when they move dialogue. It's the same thing talking in here, doing a live stream. People walk in and say, do you have to wear masks? I say, yeah, but I'm on a live stream and nobody wants to see me talking like this the whole time. It doesn't play the same. You want to see a person's mouth moving when they're delivering their dialogue unless they have a helmet on.
It was
So-
Halloween though, Anderson. That's why he was wearing a mask.
But he was wearing it the whole time anyway, though. Every time he was out on his bike, he either had his helmet on with the visor pulled down, or he had that mask up to his eyes and the hat on covering his eyes. He was always walking around like that when he wasn't in the Batman costume with his fucking whole chin line showing. So it was kind of there, but everybody else wasn't. You know, you didn't see that.
Yeah, because it's difficult for me to have sympathy for anybody in Gotham, or even the millionaire, the multi-billionaire Bruce Wayne. If I don't see anybody in the background with any sort of a mask on, I don't have any sympathy. That for me is another world. If they didn't deal with it the way that we dealt with it, then that's another world. That is fantasy. What I'm watching. I appreciate all the grit and all the attention to the detail, the sound of the rain, the sound of the batsuit. When the batsuit was moving, Batman's footsteps. I appreciate the attention to sound quality. But for me not to see like one face mask in the entire movie, and actually Robert Pattinson had it. Pattinson had it during the filming. For me to not see any one mask of that sort, that is fantasy.
If you watch like behind the scenes stuff on the set, you'll see everybody's wearing masks. But once they call action, nobody has their mask on because they're playing their freaking roles. Now they still have their social distancing and stuff, but once they're in the scene and filming it, which I've said I thought would be interesting to see how these movies after pandemic came out and how they shot scenes, because you have to see people standing off from each other. You're not gonna see them face to face and stuff like that. The fact that they kissing might have been like, man, how many tests was that? Yeah. You know, it's like, oh wow. They're going there. Okay, well, she didn't lick his nose, so I guess that's all right. You know,
wow.
It's a bit, it's a bit much to see how that would affect filming. And if you see behind the scenes photos, you see everybody usually got their mask on and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, it's just a movie thing. I sat down to a movie. I know it's not the real world. I sat down in a movie theater already. Do I need everything in real life projected onto the screen? No, because most people don't like wearing all these goddamn masks anyway. Ask Ryan Coogler. Okay, he's having an issue with that this week. So it was fine. It was fine that it wasn't there. I understand why it wasn't there. I understand why it could be, but for me, Amal, I don't have much sympathy for people in Gotham anyway, because as a comic book fan, I don't know why they moved, why they haven't moved. Like, I don't know why Gotham is still populated with people. It's too many crazy people running around there killing hundreds. No, I'm not staying here. No, I would have moved a long time ago.
Absolutely.
I don't know why they stay there. They like punishment. I don't know, but waiting for their turn. Yeah. But that's it. That's my point on it.
Right. Okay. Well, Artisan, thank you for coming back.
Oh, no problem. You had a question, so I figured I could answer it. So I was still here. I was in the chat.
All right.
And I got you some coffee money.
Oh, appreciate that.
What the hell? I think I did. All right. Good seeing you all again.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Yeah. Amal, you was finishing.
Were you? Did you have anything else, bro?
That was it. That was it, really. I although it was very brief, the whole wingsuit scene. I was wondering how they were going to do that, because they had hinted at that in the trailer. So I like the Christopher Nolan wingsuit a little more, although I thought it was well done, and I hope to see more of the wingsuit in the next film.
The wingsuit, yeah, yep.
Yeah. I agree. They did it well, because remember, it's year 2, like Artisan keeps saying, and the way he fell, it showed like he was a novice. So I like how they did that. I wish they had more gadgets too. I know he's a detective, but like we grew up on Batman, we need more gadgets. So movie 2, please, more gadgets. and nicer cars. Like, come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
good overall. I enjoyed it.
I did too. If I have 3 more hours, I'll probably go back and watch it again. So
now, can I
All
say
right.
one more thing?
Sure.
I loved how in the beginning of the movie they showed him on his motorcycle driving through subways and access tunnels, so that really no one's gonna ever find him. Like when he decides to go down the subway, no one's gonna find him. And when he was on his motorcycle in those access tunnels, he had on a coat and a sweatpants over his bat suit, so that no one's gonna know, if even if you're homeless and you're down there, or if you're a police officer, firefighter, plumber, whatever the case, if you're underground doing any sort of work or investigation or maintenance, if you saw him, you wouldn't know that was Bruce Wayne, or if that was Batman, because it's just someone on a motorcycle who probably shouldn't be down there. But they showed how far he had to travel from place to place. Again, with his suit covered, you would never know who that was. So I thought that was smart.
For me too, Amal, what I like too, I like that he had the recorder in his eye, the contact recorder, and that he was writing down stuff that showed that the detective in him. And I love that they show that. And I love that because that's how he records everything. That's how he could go over the clues and stuff. I love that. That was done well. I think that they did that very well.
You talking about the contact lenses?
The contact lenses,
Yes.
where he was recording everything, and then you saw him making notes, and he had the books with notes of all the stuff that he was doing. I love that. In the end, what I did love, even though this was dark, in the end, when he saved the lady during the flooding, he saved the lady, and he says, yeah, I'm vengeance, but I'm gonna have to be more. I love that. That was kind of a little bit inspirational, and I love that they ended it inspirational, because I feel like even though Batman is dark, he's still a superhero, and you should also always have inspirational elements in every one of these movies. Because what's the point of being a superhero if you're not gonna save people? You're a superhero,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, if that's it, I don't have anything else. I see she's coming in right now. We're about to shut this down, Sheed. But thank you two for coming up and giving your thoughts and your feedback on the Batman. So Amal, you pointed this out to me. There's a significance to the name, the Batman. So that means that there's a reason it's called the Batman instead of Batman, right? It means he's a little off.
He's out there. He's a little crazy. This isn't someone who is well adjusted to society, which we did get to see. Is that people think he's a little crazy. He's scary. We don't know if he's doing the right thing. So he's the Batman because he might be crazy.
Okay.
In that opening scene in the subway platform, you heard his boots for like 2 minutes of just walking boots.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, man, what is coming out of the darkness?
Yep. And they did that for us too when the DA was strapped with the neck bomb. Yeah.
Just heard footsteps.
Yep. Bro, I don't know if you remember Sheed from Atlanta, but this is Sheed.
Oh, what's up, Sheed?
Yeah.
Great talk, brother. Sheed dropped a lot of knowledge out there. So
yeah, I'm gonna add Sheed over to my other channel again soon. Artisan says it's what others call him, not what he calls himself.
Exactly.
Okay, Artisan, thank you so much for the Cash App. Appreciate that. We got to click up again. I need to come over to your space and click up for more stuff like this.
Doctor Strange is coming out.
Oh, that trailer. Yeah, that's
another click up. That's another click up.
Because Baron Mordo is going to be in this one, so he's walking the earth, cleansing all the wizards. So he's going to be back in this one. That's going to be lit.
Yeah. So that looks good. Looking forward to that. I'm gonna see most of them. I'm a fan. I'm watching Morbius. I'm watching all of them. I don't care. That's my thing. So I'll watch all of them.
Artisan says this Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that is
2
o'clock East Coast time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if y'all don't have anything else, I'm gonna wrap up. Thank you to my guests, and for those of you, thank you to Artisan, and those of you watching on the playback. Oh, also thank you to Rain for leaving all those comments.
Yeah, Rain was awesome.
So,
Thank you, Rain.
Yeah, Rain is a I don't know what Rain is, a male or female, but Rain is a fan. So
I'm surprised you didn't have Winston here, because Winston is a big Batman fan.
Yeah, I haven't seen Winston lately.
We had that conversation about Batman and Charles. What happened to Charles?
No, I didn't ping Charles for this one. I should have pinged him and
yeah, because he's a big Batman fan.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.
She's a Rain is a fan girl. Okay.
Kareem,
thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming up.
Thank you, Rain. So you have 2 females.
Yeah. Gabriel. Amal, look who's here.
G Money.
I think this is our guy.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's ask a trivia question. Gabriel King Smitty 76. Which high school did you go to?
That's got to be Gabe, man.
There was another King Smitty who came through one time, and another person who I thought was him, but I think it was someone else. Yeah, King Smitty. Which high school did you go to?
Well, bro, only our Gabe would know my nickname. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So that's our King Smitty.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Absolutely.
Please like, share, and subscribe. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye, Kareem.